My name is Tony Jarrett. I used to be an athlete, track and field. I used to run the 110 hurdles. What do you do in the hurdles?
Jump.
Exactly. So I used to do that for Great Britain. I've been to 4 Olympic Games, 5 World Championships, 4 European Championships, 4 Commonwealth Games. So I've done every major championships. I've got medals in majority of all of them, bar one, that's the Olympic Games. I'm second fastest in Britain. I've got the English record, so I'm number 1 in England, but second in Britain. I've been competing when I was about 13, just running for my school, PE, sports day, and I was lucky that I was seen by my first coach who saw me just running. When I was running at my best, I was part of the 4x1 relay team, and I got medals for the 4x1 team. I don't know if you know a guy called Linford Christie. Yeah, before your time. Well, he's our best British sprinter who won Olympic Games, and I used to run with him on the relay team, and you know, just going to major championships and competing, and getting lucky to get sponsored by shoe companies, you know what I mean, which pay you to wear their clothes. So it's brilliant. It was good. It was good. I've been doing it, I think, 20 years. Started very young, traveled the world, which was really nice. Don't have to pay for anything. They feed you, put you up in a hotel. All you do is go there, race, hopefully win. They pay you, come back home, then they send you to another race. But the main thing what most athletes do is they want to train. The training was hard. I trained every day for 3 or 4 hours a day. But that training is all about going to major championships and performing and hopefully getting medals. Nothing is better when I first got my first Olympic vest, and I remember making the team, and you go pick up your kit and they give you a suitcase full of clothes. All clothes, trainers, tracksuit, sunglasses, you name it, they give you everything. And they tell you to go to that Olympic Games, you have to, if it's like in another country, you have to wear the Olympic kit to the airport. And nothing is sweeter than when you put on the Olympic tracksuit and walk to the airport with your family and people seeing that, you know, you're part of the Olympic team. So, you know, it was hard work, but when you go on and make achievements like making Olympics, World Championship, Commonwealth Games, it's worthwhile. The hurdles I used to hurdle, yeah? I'm gonna have to stand up for this to show you how high they were. So when I hurdled, the hurdles were roughly about this high. Yeah, this high. And you got 10 of them. So 10 barriers, you have to run flat out, hurdle them, and you have to put 3 strides in between each hurdle. So it was just not just running straight, you have to jump, negotiate the hurdles, then put 3 strides and 10 barriers you have to hurdle, and make sure you don't hit them. You don't want to hit the hurdles because the hurdles have little weights on them. So when you hit them, it hurts. You know what I mean? Back in my days, it's a bit easier now because back in my day, they were just solid wood, the hurdles. Now they're a bit plastic and, you know, you can hit them. It hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much back in my days. When you hit the wood, yeah, there have been a few times when I crossed the line, then I feel a little tingling in my knee, then I realise there's blood. When my coach sees me do that, he goes, well, you shouldn't hit the hurdles. Now, I've got many medals. I've got about, say, 15 of them, yeah, 15. Majority of them are these colours. These are, this was one of my best races, really. This is where I ran 13 seconds dead, but I got a silver. You know what I mean? 13 seconds dead. Now, if you watch the Olympic Games, was it this year? Yes, this year. Yeah. This year, 13 seconds dead. What I ran back in 1995 I would have won. Yeah. But now, when I ran this race, I came second in 13 seconds dead. 13 seconds dead. If you run 30 seconds dead in major championship, you will get a medal. Sometimes you will get gold. This one I came second to another British athlete who broke the world record. It was the first time we had 2 British athletes who came first and second, and we beat the Americans. And the guy who beat me was my arch rival, but he was very quick. But you know, he broke the world record and I broke the English record. So this is one of my favourite medals, but this is my worst medal. Because this is my European bronze medal. Now, when I was running back in the day, I was actually going to have to be second or first. That was when I went to the Europeans. I was like, either going to win it or going to lose it. So when I ran this race and I came third, I was gutted. I was upset. I remember like standing on the podium and my arch rival was smiling, the guy in second place was smiling, and I had a frown on my face because I didn't want to win this medal. But like what one of my good friends said is like, you know, what was good is that, you know, there are a lot of people who go to championships and don't get a medal. At least you got a medal. So I always look at this one, and I remember I'd tell you the truth, what I did to this medal, when I got this medal, I was so upset when I went back to my room and I was visiting a hotel and I was on the 3rd floor. And when I got this, I was so upset, so I threw it out the window. And luckily my room partner, who I was sharing with, I didn't even know, he went out, I went and fell asleep. I was in the shower, got a shower, and he went and found my medal and hid it in my bag. So when I got home, I didn't even know. I got home, so I was unpacking, then I saw this medal just fall out of my bag with a note telling me, look, Tony, always look at this medal, and when I look at this medal, always believe that your goals are still achievable. And he goes, your goals are, you want to be better than silver, you want gold, and work hard for that gold medal. So it took me a couple of years. And this is my Commonwealth gold medal. There it is there. Wow. There's my gold medal. The package is a bit roughed up now, but that's my Commonwealth gold. So I've got the whole collection. I've got my gold, my silver, and my bronze. But you know, that's what, you know, I went there to try to achieve. You know, one of the main things is when I trained, I always set my goals. On my wall, I'd always say what championship was coming up. So if it was Olympic Games, I would say, well, look, I want to run the Olympic Games. I want to make the final, and that was my goal first, to make the final. Then when I make the final, then I set my next goal is like, all right, I want to stand on the podium. That's what I did. And they asked me, said, Mr. Jarrett, if you had a goal, what time would you want to run? And I said to them, I remember looking at the list of all these championships, and I thought, okay. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to be, I didn't, at the time I think, no, I don't want to worry about world records. And I thought, if I can just run under 13 seconds, so I put in big letters, numbers on my wall, I want to run 12:98. That was my time. So every morning I woke up, I saw that on my wall, 12:98, Olympic Games, whatever championships I had on the wall, and I'll look at that, I think that's the time I want to run. Now I never ran 12:98. I ran 13 seconds dead. That shows you that sometimes you set your goals high. You might not hit it, but you will get close to it. And when I always tell my athletes, even when I coach now, I say, look, when they said one at a time, I said, no, that time is too slow. I said, go big with your time. And I said, aim big. You might not hit it, but you will get close to it. And if you do hit it, then it's amazing. So I say, dream big. And if you can do that, and I always say to my athletes, I say, if I can get these medals here, it's not because I was special, not that I was talented, I was okay, you know what I mean? But all I can tell you, if you put the hard work in, sacrifice, a lot of sacrifice. When I stand on the podium and made championships, all that sacrifice was worthwhile. Yeah? So like I said, dream big in here, yeah? Dream big, because you can, whatever you want to dream about, dream big, because it's achievable if you put the hard work in.
Hi Tony, my name is Elise and I'm 10 years old, and I've got some questions for you. The first question is, how old were you when you won your first championship?
If you're talking about national, competing for Great Britain, I was probably about 18. I won my first European Juniors. It was in Birmingham. I thought I was going to travel somewhere far for my first European Juniors. I thought it was going to be in Spain, Italy, somewhere. Then they announced it, they said the European Juniors, I was like, Birmingham. I was like, oh. I was like,
It's still in England.
It was in England, but that was a good thing because like, my mum was there, my mum came to see me, family was there, and you had a great crowd. But I wanted somewhere, because it was cold when I raced. It was cold. I mean, I wanted somewhere warm. But I was roughly about 18 when I ran my first major championship.
Hello, my name is Mia and I'm 9 years old and I have a question to ask. What inspired you the most to become an athlete?
To be an athlete was my coach. He's the one who inspired me, who actually saw the talent. I didn't know I had that talent. I was just doing all kind of sports. I just loved running and I loved all kind of sports. In some sports I was rubbish at. Football, I had no skills. You know what I mean? But I tried. But athletics, it was like I just enjoyed doing it. And so when my coach said to me that, oh, you could do well. And then every time I trained, and I think, oh yeah, I'm doing well. And everything he told me I could do, I actually done. But one of my biggest person was my mum. You know what I mean? My mum was my biggest fan. You know what I mean? And she was the one who, even when the days where I didn't want to go training, I was tired, and my mum would wait and say, go, listen, she'd pack my bag and say, get out, go training, you're going training. So my mum was my biggest fan. So I think my coach and my mum was my two biggest fans.
Hi Tony, I'm 9 years old. My name's Carter, and I've got a question to ask you.
Okay, Carter, go ahead.
When you was younger, who was your idol, or like whenever you was down, who did you look up to?
My idol, well, put it this way, my idol was my mum. She was my little rock, really. You know, I mean, when I doubted myself, my mum was the only, she always to pick me up and say, look, Tony, you can achieve it, you can go and do it, as long as you study your book. Don't muck about at school, you know what I mean? But my mum was my biggest role model. But if you're talking about a sporting idol, I said one already, there's a guy called Carl Lewis, he was like the best sprinter in 100 metres. Then I looked at hurdles, and then there was a 400 hurdler, a guy called Edward Moses. I remember meeting him, and he's such a nice guy, and he was like a world record holder and one of the best 400 hurdlers in the world. And then there was a sprint hurdler in my event, a guy called Ronaldo Nehemiah, and he was the first person to run under 13 seconds. And I remember meeting him, and he was like one of my role models, because every hurdler wanted to run under 30 seconds and run faster than him. And meeting him, and I remember beating him in a race, and I thought, I beat my idol. You know what I mean? So those are my kind of idols I watch from. My mum is definitely my first, definitely the first. Yeah.
How do you get like sponsored by like shoe brands?
All right, how do you get sponsored?
Yeah.
Run fast.
That's it.
Simple as that. Cross the line first. I remember when my first shoe contract was Puma, and what Puma did, they said to me, I won, you go through these competitions, and I won English schools. You know, if you're going to do athletics, be an athlete, one of the main competition as a young athlete will go, even when you're at school, when you're in secondary school, if you're quite quick, they will send you to a place called English schools. They will send you, you were either trained at a track, and they will send you to English schools. When I won English schools, my a shoe contract came up to me, Puma, and said, look, we're looking to just give you kit. So I thought, free kit? They said, yeah. So they sent me a box of trainers, tracksuit. And then when I went to the European Juniors, they actually said to me, well, if you win European Juniors, we sign a contract. So I thought, okay. So my mission was, I remember looking at my coach saying, my mission was to actually win that, get my first contract from Puma, and they sent me a contract. When I won that, they sent me a contract. Then I went straight from that, I went to my first Olympic Games at 19. And when I went from that there, they said they would pay me every round I ran. So first round they paid me some money, second round they said if you get to the final, they pay you a big amount of money. And I thought, every round I had pound signs in my eyes thinking, I'm making money. But yeah, my first shoe contract was around about 18, first major championship was about 19.
You like sports?
Huh?
You like football?
I do like football, and if you say the team you support, and I don't agree with it, I'm gonna have to push you off. What team you support?
Tottenham.
Come on, man. See that? Yeah, my boy, that's my team. I was brought up in Tottenham. I lived not too far from the stadium, so That's why I liked him.
Hello, my name is Alexia. I'm 9 years old and I have a question for you.
Hi, Alexia.
If you had any pressure before the race, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, pressure is one of the harder things. It's like nothing can be worse when you stand on that line and you just hear the crowd and you feel the pressure because you want to do well. You know, I'll do some deep breathing, so I'll just try to slow my heart. I can hear my heart. I'm not even going to hear my heart was beating through my chest because I'm nervous. I mean, sometimes if I put my hand be shaking like that. So you try to calm yourself down, and then the next thing I do is like I just go back to the work I did. I know I've done the preparation right. I trained hard. I sacrificed. You know, the workouts were good. You know what I mean? I ate right. I did everything. So I'll go back to make sure I'm in this position and thinking, well, look, I've done this now. All it's up to me is to execute what my coach has told me to do.
Hello, Tony.
Hello.
My name's Isabella.
Isabella, okay.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Did people ever bring you down?
Yeah, of course. Well, I think when I started off, nobody expected me to do well. When I made my first Olympic Games, they didn't think I should even go because they thought that I wouldn't even make a final. They think I was going to get knocked out first round. So, you know, my job, my coach said, what you've got to do is actually prove these guys wrong. And so I actually thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do. If you don't think I'm going to make a final, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a final. Yeah, I remember even my first junior match, there was another guy in front of me who everybody didn't know, and they thought he was better than me, and they were saying, oh, he's gonna be the next star. And I thought, okay. My coach just said, look, don't worry what they say. You know what I mean? Listen to what I'm telling you. He goes, you're gonna beat him, but you got to believe what I say. So I just looked at him and I thought, okay. And for me, he was the first, because my dad wasn't around, he was like my dad. He was the first person to actually believe in me and actually told me, like, look, don't worry about what people say. Listen to me, I'm telling you you're good. You know what I mean? He goes, if you believe in what I'm telling you, you're going to do that. And I thought, okay, I'm going to trust in what you say. So when everybody came with that nonsense, I just looked at my coach and I said, what do you say, coach? He goes, don't listen to them. Don't listen. You go out there and prove these guys wrong. And that's what you've got to do in this world. You've got to go out and prove people all the time. And that's what I tried to do. So I went out there, made the final, and you know, I mean, somebody thought, oh, you made the final, he's going to come dead last. I didn't come last. I came fifth. Sixth in the final. So I thought, yeah, there you go. People are always going to try to push you down, but you got to set your mind to that goal and still work towards that and prove them wrong.
Hello, Tony. My name is Paula, and I am 10 years old. I have a question for you, and it's, what strengths did you have to win that gold medal?
The biggest strength was the mental strength. In that championship, there was a lot of pressure on me. I had to perform. When I went into that championship, I was favourite to win. So I never had that kind of pressure before. Before, I was like the dark horse. You know what I mean? Nobody expected me to do something, then I was just step in there and then get a medal and think, oh, where did he come from? So when I had that pressure at that Commonwealth Games, when I went there, they said to me, oh, you're going to win this because you're the fastest there. I was like, oh my gosh. I started to doubt myself because after a while, you start thinking, hold on, if I did fail this now, if I fail this, I'm no good. That means that gold medal I should have won, I can't win. You know, I won't get that opportunity again. I thought, okay, you know something, I'm just going to give this a welly and making sure I execute my technique like I did what my coach told me to do. But that is the most hardest thing. You could get in great shape, but if you're not mentally prepared to go out there and execute what you do in training, what you've done in training, that's the tough thing. The muscles was there already, that was tough there. But this part, I had to really work harder.
Hi, my name's Nevaeh and I'm 11 and I have a few questions for you.
Okay, Nevaeh.
How did you feel when you didn't achieve your goals that you set for yourself?
Gutted. Gutted. My goals were always on my wall. Like every year, I used to get up, okay, look at the schedule, think, right, my goal is to run this time, to make these championships. And when I don't make those championships, I'm gutted. I'm really gutted because, that for me, I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. Sometimes when I lose, I can understand why I lost because I've either been injured and I didn't train properly, or the race didn't go to plan. Because hurdles is a weird thing. You could be in the greatest shape, but if you don't negotiate those hurdles properly, you hit them then when you hit them, they slow you up. They don't make you go fast. There's only 2 athletes I've seen hit hurdles and still win and run fast times. When you hit those hurdles, it slows you up. You see Usain Bolt, when he was running fast, you know, all he needed to do was to start well and he would just zoom past everybody. In the hurdles, there are people running really well. Even this year, there was a guy called Grant Holloway from America. He went every race. Even I thought, this Olympic Games in Tokyo, I thought, well, who's coming second? Because he was going to win. But he didn't. He came second because he hit a hurdle, messed up, and one guy went in front of him. So hurdles is very complicated. You have to make sure that you hurdle correctly and negotiate those hurdles at top speed and make sure you run fast at the same time. So, but when I don't hit my goals, yeah, I'm pretty upset. You know, I go home a bit miserable. You know, my wife is like, "You're miserable." I'm like, "Yeah."
Do you really get any breaks?
I'm coaching my athletes. Now, there's an indoor season. So most of my athletes are getting ready now for indoor season. So the indoor season goes from January to about March. Then from March, April, May, you train again. You go back into deep training, then you go ready for the outdoor season, which starts in July, August, then finishes around late September. Most athletes will take about a month off, and you know, that's where you don't bring out no spikes. You go on holiday, pack the food in, which you don't. When you're racing, you don't eat. You're trying to make sure you're eating correctly. That's when you go out and indulge a little bit. But then by October, November, you go back into training. So there's about a month of where you can actually have a break.
My name is Michael. I'm 10, and I have one question for you.
Okay, Michael.
Looking back at your career, do you regret doing anything?
You know, the funny thing is, I look back and I enjoyed everything. I wish I could turn it back, the clocks back, and start again. It was just fun. It was great. I enjoyed everything. Biggest one is not getting an Olympic medal, because I got a medal in every other championship. So Commonwealth, Europeans, World Championships. So when I look at my thing, I think, yeah, I got a medal. No Olympic gold. And I got close to Olympic gold back in 1992, Barcelona, where I crossed the line, and I remember, like, I know I didn't win it, because when I crossed the line, I looked up and I saw this guy running around the bend, and I thought, oh, right, he won it, and his hand was up in the air, and then it was a blanket finish between second and third. So what normally athletes do, you look for the action replay on the big screen. So you're looking at the plane, you couldn't really see who got second and third. So you're looking at the board, so it said, in first place, Mark McCoy from Canada. And I thought, okay, yeah, I remember him running around the bend that year, you won that. Then it said, second place, Tony, I thought, oh, then it said Tony Dees from America. I thought, oh, God. I thought, okay. I thought, yeah, and I saw him jump up and down. Then it said, in third place, Tony Jarrett. So I thought, yes! So I remember somebody threw me the flag, I put it around my neck. I ran around the track high-fiving people. I thought, yes, I got my Olympic bronze medal, I've done it. And I remember running the whole round, the whole 400 meters of the track, and I got back to the press. And they were asking me questions, and they said, Mr. Jarrett, how did you, and I was saying, I was so happy. I was like, yeah, I'm so happy, got my bronze medal. I thanked my mum, my dad, the cat, the dog. I'm thanking everybody. Then I saw the commentator's face just drop. He goes, oh, Mr. Jarrett, sorry, you didn't get third, you came fourth. And I thought, what? And they said, yeah, you came fourth. And what happened, me and this another American, we were so close, but they rounded up the times up to 1,000th of a second, and they gave it to the American instead of me. So I went from fourth, third to fourth. Oh. So that was my Olympic dreams medal, just going like that. Yeah, heartbroken. Are you going to cry for me? Yeah, that was horrible. Horrible. That was a horrible experience, because when I look back, that was one of the things I've always wanted to have, like a full medal. That's a year major championship, I've done it. So that was one of my worst ones.
Hi Tony, my name is Mon. I'm 10 years old, and I have a question for you.
Mon.
What was the last medal you won before you retired?
My last medal? I think it was that gold medal, to tell the truth. The Commonwealth gold. Yeah, that was my last medal. And the funny thing is that this medal here, I'll give you a joke. It was not a joke, it was kind of weird. I remember I used to, like I said, I've got a lot of silvers and bronze. Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
So this was my first senior gold medal. And what was one of the scariest things for me, I thought I didn't want to end my career without winning a gold medal. And I remember that when I won the silver medal, I went on this, there was a show, it was the first time British athletics team really did good at a major championship. We got about 5 or 6 golds, and a lot of people did really well. And I went onto this show called The Big Breakfast. It's not on TV no more, before your time. And it was on Channel 4, and it was live. And I remember I went on the show to talk about my medal, and the guy who was part of who ran the show, it was live on TV, and he asked me, Mr. Jarrett, how many gold medals have you got? And that time I didn't have a gold medal. And I said to this man, I said, well, look, live on TV, I said, no, I haven't won no gold medals. I've got a lot of silver, a lot of bronze. And live on TV, this was the guy said to me, he goes, Mr. Jarrett, I've got a name for you. Tony No Gold. Live on TV. Now, this is live on TV. And I remember telling my mum to videotape it, phoning my friends, I'm going to be on TV, watch me, come here, I'm going to be on TV, live on TV. When he said that, it hurt me. And that's one of my passion, one of the things that really griped me, and I thought, I have to leave this sport with a gold medal. So I worked hard for it. It took years, and this was the last gold medal. The last medal I got was my Commonwealth Games. And I remember when I won that gold, the first thing I thought about was not running around the track. I thought I want to go back on that show and say to that guy, no, Tony has a gold. Yeah, but yeah, this is my last medal.
Yeah.
Yeah.